You know exactly how it feels. You hold yourself together all day, but the second stress hits, the second your willpower dips, you find yourself opening the fridge, reaching for the cookies, or scrolling Amazon with your credit card ready. It feels automatic, almost outside of your control. And in that moment, the rational part of your brain is offline. You tell yourself you'll be stronger tomorrow, but deep down you know the pattern is repeating. The hidden cost is not just the calories or the wasted money, it's the erosion of your self-trust. Every impulse you give into chips away at your ability to execute on the bigger things you want in life. That is the real damage. But what if you could shut down that impulse in under 2 minutes? Not by white-knuckling willpower, not by distracting yourself, but by using a neuroscience-backed switch that literally cools down the craving loop in your brain. That's what we're installing today, the anti-impulse code known as cold palms. Here's why it works and how to execute it. Your body has a built-in reset button that most people never use. In your hands, specifically in the hairless skin of your palms and fingers, you have special heat exchange portals. They act like cooling vents for your blood. When you lower the temperature of these areas for 90 to 120 seconds, the effect is not just local. The cooled blood travels back to your brain and lowers the overall physiological arousal driving your cravings. Think of it like dumping cold water on an overheating engine. The system calms, your sympathetic fight or flight activity drops, and your parasympathetic rest and control system kicks in. This matters because impulses are not just thoughts. They are driven by a spike of dopamine and adrenaline, combined with elevated body temperature from stress. The craving is not only psychological, it is biochemical heat. You can try to argue with yourself in those moments, but that's like debating with a fire while it burns. Cooling your palms is like cutting off the oxygen to that fire. The flame collapses. Now, here is the tactical breakdown. The next time you feel the urge to raid the kitchen, light a cigarette, or make a late-night impulse purchase, don't try to fight it in your head. Instead, go to the sink, run cold water over your palms and fingers for 90 to 120 seconds. Keep your focus on the cooling sensation. That is the reset window. What happens in that short time is measurable. Your core temperature begins to drop, your vagus nerve is activated, and dopamine demand decreases. You will notice the craving diminish, sometimes vanish completely. This is not theory, it is direct neurophysiology at work. To optimize it, here is your exact protocol. Step 1. Identify the urge. The signal is simple. When you feel the pull to eat, smoke, or buy without thinking, that's the red alert. Step 2. Immediate cooling. Move to water or any cold object you can hold. Ideally, running water from the tap, but a cold can from the fridge or even stepping outside into cool air can work. Step 3. Maintain for 90 to 120 seconds. Less than that and you don't get the full shift. More than 2 minutes is unnecessary and may cause discomfort. Step 4. Observe the collapse of the urge. You will feel the drop in pressure. That is the nervous system resetting. Step 5. Redirect. Once the craving is gone, do something constructive in the next 60 seconds. Drink water, take a short walk, or write down the next action in your work project. This seals the reset and replaces the impulse loop with forward momentum. You now have a complete anti-impulse cycle installed. What makes this code powerful is its universality. It works across overeating, nicotine cravings, and even the itch to buy things online. Because at the root, the mechanism is the same. A stressed nervous system overheats and drives you toward quick dopamine. Cooling the system cuts the demand at the source. You are not just resisting, you are rewriting the script. Think about the leverage this gives you. You are not battling the craving head-on. You are flipping the physiology switch that makes the craving irrelevant. That's a completely different game. Elite performers win not because they never feel impulses, but because they install systems that make impulses powerless. Cooling your palms is one of the simplest, fastest, and safest systems you can deploy. There are a few execution notes to maximize results. First, do not use ice directly. Ice can damage skin and trigger pain, which increases stress and defeats the purpose. Cold tap water is enough. Second, keep the focus on the palms and fingers. That's where the heat exchange portals are most concentrated. Splashing cold water on your face may feel refreshing, but it does not hit the same physiological mechanism. Third, make it a routine tool, not a last resort. If you wait until you are deep in the craving spiral, the fight will be harder. The moment you detect the urge, that is when you deploy the code. The earlier you intercept, the easier the reset. Over time, this becomes automatic. You feel the urge, you cool your hands, you move on. The craving loop never has a chance to build momentum. This is how you shift from reacting to controlling. Notice the hidden advantage here. By installing this code, you are training your nervous system to associate urges with cooling and release, not with indulging. This builds a feedback loop in your favor. Each time you execute, you reinforce your ability to cut the chain. You go from being the person who loses control under stress to the person who resets under stress. That identity shift is worth more than the avoided calories or the saved money. It is the restoration of self-trust, which is the real currency of performance. Think of this as a weapon in your mental arsenal. When others are stuck rationalizing their late-night binges, you are the one deploying a 2-minute reset and staying on track. When competitors are drained from battling themselves, you are conserving willpower for the tasks that matter. This is what high-performance strategy is all about. Not trying harder, but installing codes that make the hard things effortless. There is one more layer that makes this protocol so valuable. By cooling your palms, you are not only reducing cravings in the moment, you are also conditioning your nervous system to tolerate stress without defaulting to destructive habits. This is because stress elevates core temperature and narrows your options. You feel trapped, and the fastest escape is food, nicotine, or buying something. But every time you choose to cool instead of consume, you are training the body that relief can come without sabotage. Over time, the association between stress and junk dopamine weakens, while the association between stress and recovery strengthens. This is how elite performers build resilience. They intercept the loop before it ingrains, and they replace it with something that compounds. Let's get even more tactical. You should test this protocol in 3 different scenarios so it becomes automatic. The first scenario is after a stressful interaction, like a conflict at work or an argument at home. Normally, that's when you would raid the pantry or light up. Instead, step away, run cold water on your palms, and feel the pressure drop. The second scenario is late night, when willpower is lowest and the environment is full of triggers. That is when people binge. Install the reset here and you'll reclaim the hours most people lose. The third scenario is midday slump. You feel drained, you crave sugar or caffeine. Instead of spiking insulin or drowning in coffee, run the code. 90 to 120 seconds of cooling will give you the reset without the crash. Once you practice in these 3 contexts, you will have a conditioned response ready whenever an impulse arises. Another advantage is the speed. High achievers do not have time for 20-minute meditations or elaborate routines in the middle of the day. You need a tool that works in 2 minutes flat, anywhere, without equipment. That is exactly what this code delivers. It is practical in an office, at home, in a hotel room, or even during travel. All you need is access to cold water or a cool object, which is universally available. Compare that with the cost of giving in to cravings. A single binge can erase weeks of discipline. A single impulse purchase can drain hundreds from your bank account. A single cigarette can reset months of progress. The leverage here is massive. 2 minutes of cooling saves you from a spiral that could cost hours, days, or even months. That's an exponential return on your time. You also need to understand that this is not about never craving again. You will still feel urges. The difference is that urges lose their power. You go from being hijacked by them to having a weapon to neutralize them. That is the real win. The craving still appears, but instead of dragging you, it triggers your training. You execute the code, the craving dissolves, and you move forward. That is a level of control most people never reach, because they never had the system to get there. Think of your nervous system like a computer overheating under load. Most people keep pushing until it crashes. Elite performers use cooling systems so the machine keeps running at peak speed. The palms are your cooling system. By using them, you are installing a hardware-level upgrade that keeps your brain stable under pressure. And when your brain stays stable, your decisions stay sharp. That is how you keep your edge in environments where others collapse. Now here is the challenge. Knowledge without action is worthless. You already know that when the next impulse hits, your old pattern will try to pull you back. The only way to break it is to commit to running the reset at least once in the next 24 hours. When the next craving or urge hits, do not negotiate with it. Do not delay. Step to the sink, run cold water on your palms, and hold it for 90 to 120 seconds. When you feel the craving dissolve, you will understand the power of this code. After that, it is no longer theory. It is part of your arsenal. You can rely on it anytime, and the more you use it, the more effortless it becomes. This is how high performers stay ahead. They don't rely on fragile willpower. They build playbooks of protocols that guarantee control. Cold palms is one of those codes. It is simple, it is fast, and it is repeatable. Every time you use it, you are protecting your energy, your focus, and your self-control. And when you stack codes like this, you create an unfair advantage in performance. Most people will keep falling for the same cravings and the same failures. You will be the one cooling the system, breaking the chain, and moving forward while others stay stuck. That is the difference between those who talk about change and those who actually achieve it. You now hold one of the simplest but most powerful anti-impulse codes available. Use it, master it, and watch how much stronger your execution becomes. And if you want to keep building an arsenal of codes like this, systems that give you control where others collapse, make sure you subscribe to Success Code. This is where we decode the playbook of high performance and give you the tools to reprogram your mind and body for results. Each video adds another weapon to your mental arsenal. Subscribe now, because the next code we release could be the one that multiplies your edge in ways you cannot imagine.